People say I'm doing this out of revenge because we've got beef. I won't deny it. Me and Diddy have had issues. We've been going at it since 2006. He blocked Mace from signing with me. I dissed him in the track. He launched the vodka line. I launched mine. It's been a back and forth for years. You know why he's so desperate to shut this film down? Because he knows we found things. Footage, phone calls, conversations he recorded himself, contracts, NDAs, real receipts. But Diddy ain't the only problem. He's just a symbol. This industry is full of people like him smiling in the spotlight while pulling strings and hurting people behind the scenes. I don't make things up.
You know, he's talking about there's more footage. There's 140 hours that he has, and each episode was only maybe an hour, I think. There's 4 episodes, so there's at least 130 something more hours that he hasn't edited or, produced.
For some reason, Diddy, around the time of his arrest, thought, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to be exonerated later, so I'm going to film all this, and then I can use it in my big comeback later when I'm not in jail. Didn't work out the way he thought, and it turns out he went to jail for a few years. All right, he didn't get the full amount, but he still got a few years. And 50 Cent somehow managed to pay for the footage off of the videographer. Probably Diddy's worst nightmare, this. It's got to be up there. Now, we're going to get into what's in the actual documentary, and hell, it's something.
Anything that surprised you from that footage?
The footage, well, I mean, it was really interesting to see his last days of freedom, and what was sort of important to him. Obviously, there's phone calls with his attorneys, with his team. It was very interesting to watch a man who's known for his brand presence. He has a really amazing knack for marketing and all of that, and how he was sort of taking that into account in how he was coming off to the public, in the days leading up to his arrest and indictment.
Like 3 or 4 pictures in the documentary that I've seen of myself. Some people say they saw more, but I know three different times where I was certain places that you could actually see me in the documentary, and that's the only thing you're going to get.
From the moment Netflix released Sean Combs' The Reckoning, something felt off. The subject matter was undeniably serious, the timeline disturbing, but the storytelling seemed carefully restrained. It wasn't that facts were missing, it was the emotional weight behind them. Key moments felt softened, almost sanitized, sparking speculation that crucial footage never made it to the screen. According to multiple sources, the documentary originally included additional material, particularly tense sequences capturing Sean Combs' reactions as pressure mounted in the days leading up to his 2024 arrest. Those scenes, insiders claim, were either edited down or removed entirely. Questions deepened when attention turned to the project's connections with 50 Cent and former insider Gene Deal, followed by reports of legal tension after the documentary's release. Netflix has maintained that the production followed all proper standards and protocols. Combs' camp, however, has disputed that position. Meanwhile, both 50 Cent and Gene Deal have continued to suggest, without offering full details, that there is far more to the story than what viewers were allowed to see.
Around the time of his arrest, thought, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to be exonerated later, so I'm going to film all this, and then I can use it in my big comeback later when I'm not in jail. Didn't work out the way he thought, and it turns out he went to jail for a few years. All right, he didn't get the full amount, but he still got a few years. And 50 Cent somehow managed to pay for the footage off of the videographer. Probably Diddy's worst nightmare, this. It's got to be up there. Now, we're going to get into what's in the actual documentary, and hell,
we need the core theme to be, you didn't do anything wrong. You didn't do anything wrong on any front.
By the way, these conversations, the lawyer had no idea he was recording them. So when the lawyer's like, yeah, we need everyone to believe you did nothing wrong, it kind of takes away from when the lawyer is out in public saying, yeah, my client is completely innocent, and now he's showing the behind the scenes where he clearly didn't think he was very innocent. So not Diddy's smartest move, however, throughout this journey, you'll see he makes a lot of crazy decisions.
I don't think it's working. I've listened. I've been a superb client, as you said. I jumped on the plane. I'm coming to New York, but I'm just running around waiting for a shoe to drop.
He's shitting himself right now, in case you can't tell, and he really doesn't look good.
It's the middle of September, and there's still no indictment.
Then you have to have a spokesman. You have to have some sort of comms to constantly be pushing that, Mark. Because you may just be a person that you just may watch CNN. You know what I'm saying? And there's 9 billion people in the world, and 7 billion of them is on Instagram. in TikTok.
He's basically trying to get control of the narrative. That's what he's really worried about. He wants public perception to be, this was all bullshit. Unfortunately for him, we'd all seen the CCTV of him beating the shit out of Cassie, so like, we know you're not a good guy, man. That's out there. A statement from your solicitor is really not going to change that.
We have to find somebody that'll work with us, whether they're from this country or from another country. It could be somebody that has dealt in the dirtiest of dirty business of media and propaganda.
We need to brainwash some motherfuckers right now, and we need people who are used to working with the dirtiest of dirty, because that's what he is, and he's admitting it. How could you let this footage fall into the hands of 50 Cent, my guy? And honestly, it always comes down to money with Diddy, because Diddy didn't get rich just because he was, you know, clever in music. Diddy got rich because he robbed people all the time, and him not taking care of the people around him, it just comes back to bite him a million times over.
It's like we have a movie, you're speaking this language, and you know what I'm saying, we need subtitles, and we're not providing the audience with subtitles. And I invited you to this movie, and you in this thing, you don't know what's going on. You just see, you just see the images, you know, quickly. Now, it has a whole life of its own.
I gotta say, this whole doc was edited well. When he said you just see the pictures and they cut to the CCTV. Well done, 50. You nailed that, son. If you could have taken him down in style. So you get a clear window from the jump here into Diddy's psyche. He doesn't give up about Cassie or any of these girls. He doesn't give up about anyone. It's save yourself mentality, and it's crisis mode. And you can see on his face, like, well, you know he's got a problem. This is at an all-time high of his taking, surely.
The most intense debate now centers on footage reportedly filmed in the final days before Sean Combs' September 2024 arrest. A window of time when, according to sources, he appeared fully aware that the pressure was closing in. Insiders claim cameras captured private conversations and behind-the-scenes moments never intended for public release. Among them was a reportedly tense exchange with legal advisors, where the mood allegedly shifted from confidence to reluctant acknowledgement that control was slipping away. Observers note that figures in positions of power rarely speak so candidly unless they sense their options narrowing. According to those familiar with the footage, the focus quietly moved from legal strategy to reputation management. That shift, sources say, prompted strong resistance from Combs' team, who argue the material was deeply personal and crossed ethical boundaries. Netflix and 50 Cent, however, are said to strongly dispute that characterization. What makes the footage especially significant isn't just its content, it's the timing. It was recorded before arrests, before court proceedings, and before the situation fully unraveled. It captures a rare moment of apparent awareness that influence alone might no longer guarantee protection. That context has fueled growing skepticism that the final documentary reflected the full scope of what was filmed, particularly as reports suggest the footage originated from a private project Combs himself commissioned to help shape his public narrative. Once that detail is considered, questions about what was left out and why become increasingly difficult to dismiss.
50, how'd you get it, and what does that scene show?
Well, I mean, you know, you're a journalist, Harvey, you would not disclose your sources.
We usually don't.
Yeah, but I got it. Yeah.
What he said.
and what do you think it conveys? Because we see someone trying to pull the strings and talking about, he would say affecting, others would say manipulating the public views of the allegation.
I think that, you know, one big theme of the series is to go behind the scenes to really understand how brilliant you could say Sean Combs is at marketing, at owning his narrative, controlling the narrative at all times. And so why would that stop, you know, when his life is on the line? So I think that, you know, on its face, that's what it is. But as you get deeper in the film, you start to realize, you know, perhaps how some of these tactics, you know, how they really came to present themselves, you know, during the trial.
You show that, his abilities, his early rise. Alexandra, you also give time to victims of the alleged abuse. Some of the cases are in different procedural postures. And you show victims who were women and men. Why is that important?
Because, victims of sexual assault, sexual violence, gender should not be a part of that conversation. When you are a victim, you are a victim. And I think that, this series was a platform in a way for these alleged victims to come forward, give their truth, put context to their situations when so much of it was ripped out, and we just went, the world was going for the salacious headlines, and they really had the time to tell their story.
Yeah, and the film takes us way behind the PR or propaganda machine. You see Diddy the day he's finding out about new suits against him while he's in New York preparing for a...
When asked how he obtained the footage, 50 Cent was careful. He declined to reveal sources, noting that journalists rarely do. What mattered more, he said, was what the footage actually showed. According to him, the scene captures someone attempting to pull the strings, shaping perception, influencing how allegations are received, and managing public opinion. That, he explained, ties directly into one of the documentary's central themes, understanding just how skilled Sean Combs has been at marketing himself and controlling his narrative throughout his career. That ability, 50 Cent argued, wouldn't suddenly disappear when everything was on the line. On the surface, the footage looks like strategic image management. But as the series unfolds, viewers begin to see how those same tactics may have resurfaced during legal proceedings, revealing how deeply ingrained that approach had become. The documentary also takes time to explore Combs' rise, his influence, ambition, and mastery of branding, while deliberately giving space to alleged victims. The cases shown are at different legal stages and include both women and men, a choice the filmmakers said was intentional. They emphasize that sexual abuse and violence are not gendered issues. A victim is a victim, regardless of who they are. For many of those featured, the series offered something they hadn't previously had: time and context. Instead of being reduced to headlines, they were able to tell their stories in full, explaining what happened to them and how it affected their lives. Ultimately, the film moves far beyond the public-facing PR machine. It brings viewers into moments usually kept hidden, such as Combs learning about new lawsuits while in New York, preparing for the possibility of a criminal arrest. Those scenes, captured in real time, strip away polish and present a far more unsettling look at power, perception, and the effort to maintain control as everything begins to unravel.
Didn't have the power to do anything, but they using his name to push the whole documentary, and that's what it was about. So that's why you don't see a cameo other than the pictures they used of me on the film in the documentary. I got 3 or 4 pictures in the documentary that I've seen of myself. Some people say they saw more, but I know three different times where I was certain places that you could actually see me in the documentary, and that's the only thing you're going to get. But the stories that they told in the documentary, bro, come on. They could have went a whole lot deeper. They could have did a whole lot more. So I ain't in the documentary because that lady that was the director, I think, what's her name? Alex, Alex State, you know her name, Mighty? Yo, Mighty, just give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, I'm gonna look this up, all right? Okay, her name is Alex Stapleton. The director that I spoke to was Alex Stapleton. She was the one told me that she was the director, she was the producer, whatever, this, that, and the third, the whole 9 yards, and she was talking mad greasy to me. And listen here, it's no matter, after you talk that kind of talk to me, there's no amount of money she could have paid me anyway for me to get in there. My story is more too valuable, getting in the depth or getting in depth with this whole stuff, and it would have helped that documentary a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? In actuality, they used all the stuff that I told them and did it the way that I was saying do it. Tim Dog started off with childhood with Puff and the whole 9 yards. Kirk Burrows do the business part, but they was trying to put people in there like Mark Curry and other people to talk about the streets or what was going on, a certain thing. But Mark can only say so much, because he was an artist. So he wasn't with Puff like I was with him during that time when we was running back and forth here and there and the whole 9 yards. So, Miss Alex Stapleton is the one reason why I'm not in the documentary, but it's all right with me. I've been in a lot of documentaries. I did The Shine. I did the A&E. I did the Discovery Channel. I did the Fox. You know, I've been in a whole lot of different documentaries, and I'm always on the art of dialogue. So the people been getting most of the information from here anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you always on here, man. Always gotta bring you on. So with that being said, man, I want to get right into the documentary, man. How you feel about the documentary, man? The behind the scenes footage they got of Diddy leading up to him getting arrested. How you feel about all that, man?
Well, what I feel about the documentary, they left a whole lot of key things
50,
out.
how'd you get it, and what does that
something,
scene
and they're
show?
gonna say in the
Well, I
reckoning.
mean, you know, you're a journalist, Ivan. You would not
Sean Combs, the reckoning,
We usually
or Diddy, the reckoning,
Yeah,
stuff
but,
like that. There should have been a lot of people that we lost because of him. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't only Big.
What do you think it conveys? Because we see someone trying to pull the strings and talking about, he would say affecting, others would say manipulating the public views of the allegation.
From Bad Boy,
I think that, you know, one big theme of the series is to go behind the scenes to really understand how brilliant you could say Sean Combs is at marketing, at owning his narrative, controlling the narrative at all times. And so why would that stop, you know, when his life is on the line?